reason people are concerned about the words they use, the reason Americans care about civil rights, the reason we are sensitive to racism is for one issue and one issue only, and that is how Black Americans were treated in this country. It is because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Those do not compare. Irish, the new groups, they always get a little bad treatment. Do not compare that to how blacks are treated in this country. You don't get to piggyback on the black experience in America. You do not get to do that just because you are a woman, an immigrant, gay, Hispanic. No, the rest of you can go F yourselves.
You know what I think we need to do? We need to start teaching our children the same thing that they are teaching their children. They're teaching their children to white people. They're teaching them how to be from a small age. And our little white children are growing up and going out into this world not prepared, feeling guilty, thinking that there's something wrong with them. And I know that it probably sounds a little out there, but our little one, they need to be prepared what could happen to them in certain situations. These people say they're the ones that live in fear, and they're the ones that are scared, and there's all these sundown towns, and everyone's against them, when we all actually know the truth. And our kids and our family members and just people that are not aware of what's really out there working against us, they need to know. And don't feel bad for going to people that you love and care about and saying, hey, don't go to these big festivals and cities. Don't go where there are large groups of these people. Don't go there, because you don't know what could happen.
Hi guys, welcome back to my space, and if you are new here, please subscribe. White America is in panic mode. The truth they have hidden for generations about slavery, racism, and stolen wealth is finally catching up to them. And now they are begging for forgiveness from the very people they have tried to silence.
I'm going to now lead us in an apology from white Americans to African Americans on behalf of our country. To you and to your ancestors and to all of your people. So to the African Americans in the room who would wish and be willing to participate in this, please stand up. And now I'd like to ask white Americans who are sitting near you to please stand up, and if the African American citizen would be willing to allow a white American who wishes to apologize to you and take part in this to hold your hands.
For decades, they have rewritten history, made villains look like heroes, and victims look like troublemakers. But with social media today, independent black voices, and digital archives, the real story is surfacing, and it's exposing the lies that built white America's comfort. You can't hide the truth forever. It always finds its way back. They see it now. The new generation isn't buying the old narratives because Black Americans are rewriting the story, reclaiming history, and demanding accountability.
Give me your strongest argument in support for reparations and reparations right now.
Reparations right now, and we should have been have reparations because foundational black Americans built this country from scratch. If it were not for foundational black Americans giving hundreds of years of free labor, this country would not be in the position it's in right now. And the whole argument was that was long ago. No, the money is not long ago. The money generated and the wealth is still here. Money doesn't disappear. It gets compounded and passed down through generations. The money has been passed down, and the debt of slavery has been passed down generationally to us, and we have to be repaired. Nobody has a problem with Native Americans getting compensated. They don't say that was long ago. That was long ago, and they get casinos and they get compensated now. Nobody says, well, I wasn't there when the Native Americans are getting chipped off. No, I didn't have anything to do with Native Americans getting put on reservations, but my tax dollars go to help them. I didn't have anything to do with people being put in concentration camps in Nazi Germany. Some of my tax dollars go to that. I didn't have anything to do with the Japanese out here on the West Coast being put in internment camps during World War II. When they started giving them money in the 80s and 90s, that was some of my tax dollars. So 9/11, when those buildings went down in New York, some of our tax dollars went to the victims of that. I didn't fly no planes into nobody's building, but when it comes to us, everybody wants to waive responsibility. Everybody has benefited from the slavery of foundational Black Americans and the free labor that we provided the wealth for. Everybody benefits from that right now, and we are the only group has not been compensated. We have to be compensated for that.
And how do you argue against somebody that is against reparations? Considering you said all of that, you will still have people say, I still don't support it.
But that's just I'm white and I say so. We call that I'm white and I say so. Listen, most of the country didn't support Black people being free from slavery. They didn't support that. It was Black people fighting for that. It was Black people who were the Maroons, and I got a movie about the Maroons coming out. Black people fighting from the swamps, attacking plantations. They were destroying most of the plantations in Florida. They don't talk about that. There were Black people fighting in the Civil War. If it weren't for the Black troops fighting, they would not have won the Civil War. The South was winning at first. They don't tell you that. That's why most of those military schools are in the South. They were winning until the Black people joined the Union. Then they started to defeat the South. During the Civil Rights Movement, white people didn't fight for our civil rights. White people were perfectly fine with us living on the other side of the tracks, drinking out of that water fountain over there. It was us stopping that bullshit. It was us moving the needle. They try to remix it now and say, well, white people were walking side by side. No, white people were perfectly fine with what was happening to us. Most white people did not want us to have civil rights. We said, no, we're going to get the civil rights and we're going to be treated like human beings. And then we made it happen. We're making it happen with reparations now. I don't give a damn what a white supremacist want or don't want. That person wants me somewhere butt naked, hanging in a tree somewhere. Damn what he want. I want us to get equal and just and equitable treatment, and we're going to get that.
Now, family, when we talk about reparations, we get the same 7 rebuttals from the dominant society, and we need to know how to address their rebuttals when we talk about what we need to get as far as reparations. The first thing that they say is, well, wouldn't reparations be divisive? Wouldn't that make people in the dominant society not like you? Are you here to be liked by the dominant society? Tina Turner told us, what's love got to do with it? We're trying to get our money. We're already divided, but they control our resources. So we want them to divide our money and give it back to us because we're owed a debt as foundational Black Americans. The second thing that they try to tell us is, well, other people suffered, it just wasn't Black people. Irish people were enslaved. Italian people were lynched. Native Americans were mistreated, and they're not complaining, so why are you Blacks complaining? Well, the thing is, these people are not complaining because they were compensated. The Irish, who were indentured servants, they got something called freedom dues after their contract ran out. They got money, land, and weapons. They were compensated. Then they were brought into white society to join all the benefits and reap all the gains of being white. When the Italians were lynched down in New Orleans, there was a situation where there was a mass lynching of Italians. Their families were compensated, and the country of Italy was compensated, and the Italians were allowed into white society to reap the benefits. The Native Americans, we know the red ones, they were compensated. They broke off all types of money, and many of them enslaved us as well, so they need to be cutting a check too. The third rebuttal that they have for us is, well, if you want to get reparations, FBAs, why don't you go to the Africans who sold you? Have y'all heard that one? Well, I say to that, number one, the African who sold us, well, he got a one-off. Number two, those countries don't exist no more. Those countries over there were colonized, and they were absorbed into the white European power structure, so all of their resources were drained. So they need to get the resources from the white power structure in Europe that dominated them while we're getting money from the white power structure that dominated us, the United States government. Another rebuttal they say, well, all white people didn't even own slaves during slavery. So how are white people responsible? We didn't all own slaves. But it was a slave economy where everybody benefited from the slave economy. So if you were a white person in the 1800s working for the train station economy was built on the resources that were taken back and forth from the south to the north. So you owe. If you worked for an insurance company in the 1800s, yeah, you didn't own a slave, but you were insuring slaves and you were making money off slavery. If you were a white person in the 1800s working for a bank or a factory, you were getting all the raw materials and refining it in those northern factories, benefiting from slavery. So the whole economy was based on the labor of our foundational black American ancestors. The next rebuttal is, well, my family came over after the Civil War. So I wasn't even here during slavery. So how do I owe? When your family was over there in the slums of Europe, they heard about a country that was built up off the wealth from the free labor of our ancestors. And they knew that that wealth was mass distributed from our hands into white society and locked in racially. And they sat over there in Europe and said, sign me up, I want to go over there and be a part of that. So since you want to be a part of it, you're part of the debt and you owe too. The sixth one they say is, well, there's already been reparations paid to black people. Welfare and affirmative action. Number one, welfare was created for white women in the 1930s. Number two, most welfare recipients in America are white people in middle America. The welfare capital is Owsley County, Kentucky, where 99% of the people are white and on welfare. That's the welfare capital. And as far as affirmative action, we know that affirmative action benefits white women more than anybody. So is affirmative action reparations? No! Exactly. And the last thing they say, family, they say, well, listen, why should I, as a good white person, be on the hook for something that I didn't do? Why should my tax dollars pay for something that I didn't do? I didn't own a slave. Did any of you remove red Native Americans from their land? Your tax dollars go to pay for them now. Did any of you put people in concentration camps in Germany? Your tax dollars go to pay off some of the victims of the Holocaust. Did any of you put Japanese Americans in internment camps in World War II? But your tax dollars go to pay the Japanese families. Did anybody here fly a plane in the World Trade Center? You know some of your tax dollars go to those victims too. Did you create a war in Afghanistan? No. Billions of your tax dollars go to the Afghanistani people. Did you cause a war in the Ukraine? No. Billions of your tax dollars go to the Ukrainian citizens. So since we're giving all of our tax dollars to these people who are not even citizens for the most part, we're going to make sure the real compensation and the real check is going to be cut for the people who deserved it, who built this country from the ground up, who cultivated the culture in this country. Foundational black Americans, ladies and gentlemen. Say reparations! FBA! All right, give yourselves a round of applause.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life.
The argument for reparations is the argument that federal tax dollars should be allocated to pay black American individuals as sort of a mea culpa or an apology for slavery. So, like, if you're black in America, and because we have a slave past, which basically every nation on earth does.
You do understand that there were white slaves too, right?
Of course, yeah.
Not.
So you've heard the reparation argument.
So you're basically saying, in layman terms, that reparations are a tax that we have to pay to black people because of slavery.
Precisely.
Okay,
Precisely.
that's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of in my life. My question to them would be, were you a slave? Why would I pay you reparations for something that you never experienced? Is there any remaining slave alive that used to be a slave?
160 years later, how could there possibly be?
So why are we paying someone who was never a slave?
Yeah. Not to mention the fact, why would we pay someone, or why would we force someone who's never owned a slave to pay pay reparations, right?
Like, why would we pay someone who's never even owned, or for someone who's never owned a slave?
Yeah, did you know that the illustrious Gavin Newsom over in California, he made his people pay reparations to blacks. And the funny thing is,
Wait, so this is actually, there in some spots there are people paying reparations.
that's in California, which was not a part of the Civil War. And so it's like, why are you making white people in California pay black people in California?
By slaves. He was absolutely correct. If you look on a timeline, the history of the United States is still fairly brief, and slavery was abolished a mere 155 years ago. It wasn't just the White House that was built using slave labor, by the way. The building that serves as our country's political center, the United States Capitol, was built and rebuilt using slave labor after its sacking in the War of 1812. Although most northern states had abolished slavery by 1804, it's had its fair share of symbols erected using slave labor. If you're familiar with the Trinity Church in New York's financial district, you may not know that the clergy rented enslaved people to build its iconic spires, as well as the wall that used to snake down what we now know as Wall Street. Many of our forefathers were enslavers. Thomas Jefferson's entire property in Charlottesville, Virginia, Monticello, was built and run by enslaved people. Enslaved people also helped build our intellectual centers. Georgetown University, one of the country's oldest colleges, built most of its campuses after the sale of 272 enslaved people in the 1830s. Many schools with storied histories were built in part by enslaved people, including Harvard University's Law School and the University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. That school's campus was maintained by slave labor until its abolishment in 1865. Poor record-keeping and indifference by early historians makes it nearly impossible to know every contribution made to these buildings, but there's no doubt about how they got built.
I just watched this video of this guy saying how, when something affects another race, America suddenly has the money for reparations. But over 400 years, and black people still have not received their reparations for the slavery and the injustice that was done to us. And I just want to say, they never given that to us. I'm going to tell you why. It's too messy. Too messy, too many lies. When you tell a lie, you have to continue to tell that lie, and you have to tell other lies to cover up that lie and to keep up with that lie. There were lies that were told. If they give us reparations, they would have to give us the country. That's why we'll never get reparations, because they're not going to leave this land on that term. If we want what was ours, honey, a lot of y'all are not ready for what's going to happen. You want your land back, you're going to have to take it. They're not giving you shit. They're not giving you anything. Everybody is coming for what is owed to the Black Americans, the reclassified Americans that have melanin. Everybody wants a piece. Even Africa right now is coming in to put their hand in that bag. Baby, they're not giving it to us because they stole it from us. If we want it back, we're going to have to take it from them.
I'm going to now lead us in an apology from white Americans to African Americans on behalf of our country, to you and to your ancestors and to all of your people. So to the African Americans in the room who would wish and be willing to participate in this, please stand up. And now I'd like to ask white Americans who are sitting near you to please stand up, and if the African-American citizen would be willing to allow a white American who wishes to apologize to you and take part in this to hold your hands. And now, as I speak, I'm going to ask the white Americans in the room to please repeat after me. On behalf of myself and on behalf of my country, to you and all African Americans, from the beginning of our nation's history, in honor of your ancestors and on behalf of your children, please hear this from my heart. I apologize. Please forgive us. With this prayer, I acknowledge the depth of the evils that have been perpetrated against Black people in America. From slavery to lynchings, to white supremacist laws, to the denial of voting rights, to all the ways, both large and small, all of them evil, all of them wrong, for all the oppression and all of the injustices. I apologize. Please forgive us. For the denial of any civil rights, for inequalities in criminal justice, to any instances of police brutality, to the denial of opportunity, for economic injustice, for any ways that a racial element has played into the perpetration of injustice. I apologize. Please forgive us. With this prayer, I acknowledge the beauty and the genius of your culture, the power and the genius of those who came before you, the power and the genius of your children and your descendants. And with this prayer, we pray. May your children, may your men be blessed and protected. May your men be blessed and protected. May your men be blessed and protected. May all your men and all your women and all your children be surrounded by angels at this time. And dear God, may a great healing occur. We place in your hands the relationship between Black and white Americans. May it be lifted high above and beyond the walls that would divide us. May our hearts be awakened to the truth of our oneness. And racism and prejudice be no more. Dear God, please come upon us and heal our wounded hearts. But to you, my African American fellow citizen, please accept my apology this night. It is for you and for your grandparents and their grandparents before them and their grandparents before them. May the screams that were not allowed be allowed now. May the cries that were never heard be heard now. May the tears that were never heard be heard now. And thus may the healing begin. The tears that we cry, may they be cried. And thus in the sacred container, may the healing begin. And so it is. Amen. I'd like everyone to please be seated and remain in quiet, that we might hold in silence this sacred moment. And allow whatever reaction anyone needs to have to be had. We do have cellular memory. We do. And we are screaming sometimes. The screams that our grandmothers and our grandfathers were not allowed to scream. And we are crying sometimes the tears that our grandmothers and grandfathers were not allowed to cry. And this is the place. You know, when President Clinton said we needed to have a national conversation about race, it didn't go anywhere because without a sacred container, without a prayerful context, no one gets to go deep. You know, people who have hundreds of years of anger in themselves and rage and pain and need to apologize. This is all really good. And it's the only way. And everyone who is present with this, to whatever extent your own awareness, your own feelings are impacted by this, then you become in your own way, in your own life, an ambassador of the love and the feelings that you experience here. And that's the way it works. It's not a quick fix. It's a healing process. But it cannot not work. Does that make sense? I think it...
We're not rioting, God. We're not shaming anybody, God. We're just humbling ourselves before you. Yes, Lord. You brought us under this rain today, God. And just take the next hill today. Father, in Jesus' name, you will be free. Father, we ask for forgiveness for black brothers and sisters for years and years of racism.
You guys remember that time way back in 2020 when white people kneeled down and begged for forgiveness, and actually in some, not in this video, but in other videos, were washing the feet of black people, especially in places like Washington, D.C. It was like a global pandemic, you could say, of just people that wanted to cleanse themselves from being racist for all these years, and it just spread like wildfire in the white community. It was really a hilarious moment in time, and one of the most ridiculous things you probably have ever seen. But yeah, I just came across that video recently and wanted to remind you guys of just how idiotic some white people on the left can be. For more videos like this, make sure you hit the follow button now. Take care, and God bless America.
The reason people are concerned about the words they use, the reason Americans care about civil rights, the reason we are sensitive to racism is for one issue and one issue only, and that is how black Americans were treated in this country. It is because of the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow. Those do not compare. Irish, the new groups, they always get a little bad treatment. Do not compare that to how blacks are treated in this country. You don't get to piggyback on the black experience in America. You do not get to do that just because you are a woman, an immigrant, gay, Hispanic. No, the rest of you can go F yourselves. No, this is for black Americans. We seem to have forgotten them. It's not a rainbow coalition.
Various groups, feminists, gay rights groups, and those who are defending immigrants have commandeered the black civil rights experience.
Yes.
What do you mean by that?
There is the legacy of slavery and Jim Crow laws. We don't owe the homeless. We don't owe feminists. We don't owe women who are desirous of having abortion. That's what civil rights has become for much of the left. Wait, could I just say, what have we done to the immigrants? We owe black people something. We have a legacy of slavery. Immigrants haven't even been in this country.
What do you see?
The black experience is different from any other experience in America. There is slavery, there is Jim Crow, so I really do resent it when people come along and say, well, you can't say the phrase illegal alien, would you use the N-word? You can't say retard, would you say the N-word? You can't say, I don't know, a million other things. They're always comparing it to the N-word, so the main point I want to make is no other word is like the N-word.
And Coulter for the win, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody saw that coming.
CNN, people are going to say, Ann Coulter, this is one of the first times I've ever agreed with Ann Coulter, and it's on CNN. Mark this down in your calendar. But Ann, you've always felt this way. This isn't new for you, right?
It's not only not new for me, this is standard Republican position. I mean, Justice Rehnquist...
And we're back.
Okay, hang on.
Now, black historians, creators, and activists speaking the truth online. And suddenly, white America is uncomfortable. They are realizing what equality really feels like when the power shifts even slightly. They loved our culture but hated our truth. And now they are scared of both. Now, some are showing up with tears and apologies, asking for forgiveness, but still avoiding accountability. It's not about saying sorry. It's about dismantling the system built on those lies. Forgiveness without change is just another lie. Black America is saying, we don't hate you, we just want justice. But forgiveness must come after truth, not before it. Black Americans forgave for 400 years. Where did it get them? Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting what was done. We want fairness, not fake peace. The lies are crumbling. From the education system to Hollywood, from the justice system to corporate boardrooms, the truth is no longer hidden in books. It's living in every black voice speaking out today like me. And now, white America faces a new reality, one where they can't control the narrative anymore. So, to those asking for forgiveness, remember this: forgiveness doesn't erase history. It only heals when the truth is told. Thank you so much for watching this video. This is Mercy Realities. Please subscribe, comment, and share.